All right, Steve. As you know, this is the Bees of Boxing. Of course, we talk boxing, right? But this one's a little different. I got a question for you this time around, Steve. What's with this love affair? This weird thing going on, it seems like, between your pal Eddie Hearn and Connor Ben, because recently he's now disparaging the fact, saying, trying to say that Regis Prograis is injured going into this fight with him next week, trying to say that this is like a layup for Connor. Like, he's doing everything but cuddle while stroke. This is what I'm saying. What's going on, Steve? Oh, hi.
Hello. Oh, hello. I think there are two things. I don't think either of them can leave it alone. I'll make a point now, and then maybe we'll pick up in a minute. I don't think that Conor Benn has anything else right now other than the Eddie Hearn situation. The Eddie Hearn situation. And I think that Eddie Hearn is still hurting. I think he's still hurting, and that is why he's saying about Regis Prograis, who had to say, "Oh, I'm not injured." That was before Eddie Hearn got involved in this, but he has said he's very, very injured, really injured. And he's also said, "I believe that Conor Benn will be booed when he walks to the ring." I said booed. Are you hearing me, everybody? Booed. They're not going to boo him just because, that's kind of, well, I love Eddie Hearn so much, I'm going to make sure I boo. Foam fingers down. It's just nonsense. I think that certainly Conor Benn doesn't have anything else. I think Eddie Hearn has other stuff, and it's ridiculous for him still. People ask him questions about it, but Conor Benn doesn't have anything else. The Zuffa thing is not. He's not mentioning it. He's not talking about it very much. Only in relation to Eddie Hearn, and I think that the fight is not exciting. There's no social media about it other than Eddie Hearn. And I don't think people really care about it. I certainly don't. People have said it's 15 million for that. And I think, and it could be a one shot and done. And then he could be going back to Eddie Hearn, who's saying, "Come to me, I'll bring Boots Ennis to you." But I think that certainly Conor Benn has recently talked about Eddie Hearn, the upset, I didn't ring him beforehand, but I did send him a long letter saying that when all this is resolved, we could meet and have a chat. I sent him a letter. Who does that these days? Who sends a letter these days?
Here's the thing that I want to know, though. Nobody sends letters these days. In fact, I think that there's countries getting rid of home service for letters finally, Steve.
Is that right? We aren't, but they're not prioritized, I don't think.
Yeah. Here's my question for you. Outside of Zuffa, can Conor Benn win a title? Think about the weight classes. Think about who the champions are. So, or has he got a better chance of having a title created for him and be able to kind of go through that way and be a Zuffa champion that in turn makes him profitable and marketable for the other championships?
Yes, but he doesn't want that because it's all about pleasing his dad. And his dad was WBC champ, wasn't he? So he wants that WBC title. And he lost the opportunity when he went to Zuffa because Eddie Hearn and Mauricio Sulaiman clearly had spoken, I think, because he was parachuted to the top of that welterweight class, despite not having fought in the welterweight class for 3 years. So now that's gone. Sulaiman Sissoko, by the way, has been overlooked again. And because Ryan Garcia is now looking somewhere else, of course. And he could have had that big fight with Ryan because he was saying, "I'd like a fight with Ryan. If that doesn't work out, we'll look at Rolly." Well, and Eddie Hearn was up for that and preparing for that, I think. And then he went to Zuffa. So I don't think if he gets a title created for him, people like me and you and others will say, "That's nonsense, isn't it?" There's I'd have no respect for him with that. Who are you fighting? I mean, who else have they got? So I think he's lost his chance, whatever happens. He needs to build himself up. He needs to rush back into the arms of Eddie Hearn and build himself up. I don't know if he's a good enough fighter to do that.
This is what I'm saying. So outside of that, I don't think that he's going to have a chance of getting a title, but he can still make lots of money fighting for Zuffa. He can still do this. He can still take care of his family, and he can still be a champion inside of those ranks. And we know that we're in a stage now with Zuffa where they're starting to still build. They're starting to bring in more fighters. So maybe there's a lot of things that we don't know about right now where the pot is being sweetened a little bit. And we're going to talk about this in a segment a little bit later on that you can find, where we talk about some of the people that are free agents and who could be potentials to keep Conor Benn and other fighters in Zuffa. Now, go ahead, Steve.
But will they keep him? This is the other question we need to ask. Will they keep him, or will they kick him to the curb, much as he did with Eddie Hearn? Large piece of humble pie without any dressing or sauce for Mr. Conor Benn. Will they do that? I mean, I don't know if they will keep him. We'll have to see.
Well, let's put it this way. If you run down the champions, right? WBA champion Erislandy Lara, I don't think Conor Benn beats him. WBC champion Carlos Adames, I don't think Conor Benn beats him. IBF champion Vacant, I think Conor Benn could barely beat him. Because that guy's a champion everywhere. I don't care what you say. Vacant has held more belts in more divisions, in more sports than anybody. So go Vacant. And WBO champion Janibek Alimkhanuly. That's a very tough fight too. And there's no money in that fight. There's nothing. Who do you promote that? You know what I mean? Like it's just not there. So Zuffa was his best bet, and it will continue to be his best bet. And I think the bigger picture is for him to fight for some kind of a title inside of that program in England. In England is where you do it. And if you stick around and you pay attention to the segment that we're going to have coming up later on, I'm going to tell you exactly who I think that'll be. Now, you said that he wants to please his dad in all of this. Are you saying that boxing, tell me now, Steve, does boxing have daddy issues?
Yes. Absolutely. I mean, it's the same with all sports. I mean, it happens in proper football, soccer, proper football, in Britain as well, which is, it's his son, and you've got it with Manny Pacquiao, and I'm so delighted that my son is now fighting. But you've got those long shadows, haven't you? And it came to the fore with the Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn fight. Trilogy coming up, folks. They were avatars for their fathers, of course, and then they stepped out of those shadows and had a damn good fight. Both fights were good, but yes, massive problems with fathers who, because of the febrile nature of the business of boxing, even if the fathers are being quiet, and to be fair to both Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank, they don't put themselves out there. People go and find them. They do agree to have discussions, but then sometimes they're just doorstepped and they'll say things. And then it's, Chris Eubank trashes his milkman or whatever, or trashes Muhammad Ali. And he might have just said, Muhammad Ali wasn't always great, but he was brilliant most of the time. And it's the headlines, isn't it? So, yes, I believe that because they hang around, we, as boxing fans, have an issue with all of that. And that's really played out largely in Tyson Fury's camp, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Well, and this is why I bring this up, because you're going to have a daddy affair on this fight card, basically, because on this card that's headlined by Tyson Fury, who's going to have the King Gypsy bastard himself, the bastard maker, John Fury out there. Don't worry, he's not going to come looking for you, Steve. He's going to be there. Get your hat out of your hand. It's not how we roll here.
Please, okay? Mr. Fury.
But here's a bigger question to you. If you look at this main card for this Tyson Fury fight, Conor Benn Regis Prograis is the only non-heavyweight fight. out of the ones that they're advertising, right? Fraser Clark and Justin Hooney, Jamie TKV, and Richard Riakporhe, which fantastic fight. Richard Riakporhe, another guy who I think is going places. And then Tyson Fury and Makhmudov. So Conor Benn and Regis Prograis is the only real fight that is like there's going to be some movement because we saw that this past weekend. So why would Eddie want to disparage this thing like that so much? And is this Conor Benn fight being put on this card for a specific reason because they know of the slow moving nature that is going to be the rest of these fights?
Yes, I think that's right. But I think that the card, and I think it's a great card. I mean, I actually happen to like the Prograis Benn fight, but not for 15 million. I happen to think it's all right.
You don't have to pay that, Steve.
Ah, that's all right then. That's fine. Oh, phew. Because I had the 15 million in an attaché case under my bed. I don't really, folks. Do not come to my house.
No.
So
he has porn magazines under his bed.
I do. That's under the mattress. I've got so many. The mattress is slipping off.
It is now.
Yeah. Anyway, but if you do want to come and see me, it's Buckingham Palace. That's where we Brits all live. Or the House of Parliament, one of the two. So, I think that Eddie is rubbishing this because he can't do anything else. He can't stop. I think he can't stop. He's a hype man and a good promoter, but a hype man at heart. I don't think he can stop doing it. I think he still feels very upset. I think he still thinks that Conor Benn will come back to him. And Conor Benn's making those kind of comments about, I want him in my corner. I still want him there. Now, partially it's to make people, he cried in this interview. Oh, my heart went out to him. Oh, he might have left him for the money, but my heart went out to him. He also said, I was never given any cash, didn't he, generally? And Eddie Hearn's pushed back, and Frank Smith have pushed back against that. But he is saying, I'd like him to be in my corner. I want the relationship to continue, words to that effect. I don't think Eddie Hearn can stop. I think also that, well, two things. The first thing is this is a great card for boxer because Fraser Clark, Jamie TKV and Richard Riakporhe, these are boxer fights, and they had a superb main event for their show at the weekend. That was superb as well. And I have to say that I think that the main event is the one that should be selling the tickets. It's the comeback for Tyson Fury. So the rest of the card, good though it is, just forget about that because it's really Tyson Fury's name. It's not Makhmudov, Tyson Fury's name. I hear it's been reported there are tickets still available. There are tickets still available on reselling. Yeah, for £10. £10.
Yeah, I can go on to Uber Eats and get tickets for this fight right now, delivered to me, and they will put me in the car and drive me back to the venue and then bring me back home and feed me along the way. This is what I'm hearing. We are like minutes away from this happening, and there is absolutely nothing going on about it. This is horrendous word, especially when you think about the way that the heavyweight division of boxing presented itself this past weekend, Steve. And that brings me to my next point that we're going to talk about here right now. Thank you so much for the career of Derek Chisora. I appreciate that. I wish it would have ended the day before his last fight because that was not a good showing for him. I understand what he was trying to do. Deontay Wilder, an 11-inch reach advantage. That's almost a foot, according to Mauro Ranallo. Shout out, Mauro. How you doing, brother? And I understand what he was trying to do, what Derek was trying to do. You got to throw some punches. You got to get inside there and try to work it because you don't want to be at the end of any of those shots from Deontay Wilder because that's what he's got. However, that was not a good showing by him. And even worse is the fact that now Deontay Wilder seems to be, what's the word that you said to me, Steve?
I don't know. What was that? I said many words,
Delusional.
including mother. Oh, yeah, delusional. Yeah. I thought you were. I thought you were. I thought you were. You were going to use the word mother. I thought you were going to use that one that I used to you earlier.
Well, I was also going to say suable, apparently, because that seems to be a thing with Deontay Wilder. Apparently, he was hit with a lawsuit 48 hours prior to his fight with Derek Chisora from his ex-wife and his ex-wife's kid, apparently claiming some things. But we'll see how all of that stuff works. And so hopefully Deontay gets all of that settled up. We're not here to talk about legal issues or anything like that. We're here to talk about the bees of boxing, not the bees of baby mamas. Okay. That's a different show altogether, ladies and gentlemen. But in the bees of boxing, Deontay Wilder did not look like Deontay Wilder, the heavyweight champion. The announcers, in my opinion, did a very, very commendable job of trying to make this fight actually appear much better than it actually was. Steve, I sat there with my 70-something-year-old father-in-law watching this fight, and he says to me, I've never seen more hugging in my entire life. This man is 74 years old. Do you know how many funerals he's been to, how many weddings he's been to? And he's trying to tell me and every one of you that he's never seen more hugging than he saw in this fight. What was your take on this fight? And is Deontay Wilder out to lunch on this, Steve?
Yes, let me come to that in a moment. I've got my take on this, which is, yes, you're right about the hugging. And it was like Jake Paul, number 2. It was like that. And at one point, Deontay Wilder just fell over. I mean, he didn't rip. He just seemed to fall over.
It was a weird slip, kind of like he slipped on a banana peel. That's going to make a great meme because his legs just kind of like gave out to the sides, and there he was, ass end over tea kettle, and they counted it as a knockdown. This is the worst thing. I understand why the ones with Frazier Clark and going, or not Frazier Clark. Well, what am I saying? Derek Chisora and going through the rope. You put yourself through the rope. That's the same as taking a knee, in my opinion. So yes, but this weird kind of phantom punch slip, like I'm waiting to see the meme with the sniper from the upper deck, who ends up taking the shot or whatever. Like, I don't understand. They were trying in their damnedest, I think, to make sure that Derek Chisora had everything awarded to him that could possibly be in this fight. One of the judges, Steve, gave this 115, 112 Derek Chisora. Was his last name Chisora?
Oh, it was close. It was close in a way that when you get those cartoon fights and it's just a bunch of arms sticking out of a maelstrom, it was like that. But my take is this: let's talk about Deontay Wilder in a minute, because I think I agree with you. But Derek Chisora, or Jerick Chisora, as I seem to have called him, Jerick, I think, had the best fight to end his career that he could possibly have, because he's not the usual kind of boxer. It didn't matter whether he won or lost. All he wanted was to take a lot of punches and throw a lot of punches and make it into a brawl. That's what Derek Chisora does. And it's great that he can do that. He's got to go now. He did say, I'll talk to the missus, the boss, and talk about whether, no, just go, because I don't want to see you. I mean, Deontay Wilder said, and this is ridiculous, other people have said it was a Shawn Michaels Ric Flair moment. I love you, I'm sorry. And they said that they saw Deontay Wilder say that to him before he hit him and knocked him through the ropes. Well, he didn't hit him, he pushed him. Yeah. But the thing is that he said, I went easy on him. I wanted him to, worse the effect of, I wanted him to be around for his kids. Don't say that, mate. You were shocking, and you had to dispatch him to get any sense of being in the mix at all. You were being considered before you became a competition winner with Alexander Usyk. You were considering Francis Ngannou. So do not tell me you're back, because you certainly aren't. You were gun shy. I thought you didn't give yourself. Derek Chisora is going to come at you. He's the heaviest ever been, and he's going to lean on you. So you find a way to separate that, and you use your massive reach advantage. He didn't find any way to do that. He just walked into the brawl. It was shocking. And you know what? To call AJ out afterwards, the only reason why AJ is going to accept that fight is if he thinks, I've got a Tyson Fury fight coming up, although Calais Sauerland says it's going to be in the autumn, so there's no time. But if there was time, AJ might say, you're really beatable. You're a name. I'll have you as a comeback fight. I'll have you as a tune-up. That's the only reason. But there is no way that Deontay Wilder is ready for any kind of title shot. It's nonsense. And he was shocking. And all that kind of, I went easy on him. You know, that's like Jake Paul. I went easy on him. Well, we know what that means, mate, don't we?
Here's the thing. I think that as much as boxing tries to say that they don't, appreciate the things like professional wrestling and MMA and stuff like that, you motherfuckers are stealing a whole lot from it right now. Let's just say that, okay? And this is why I say that. The blatant setups in the crowd that we saw this past weekend. Where the fuck was Clarissa Shields at the Lauren Price fight? Where the fuck is Clarissa Shields calling out, I'll give her a fight. Of course you will. She's 3,000 weight classes below you, you numpty. Why was AJ the focal point of the walkout for Deontay Wilder? Why was that the focal point? Because we're setting stuff up, people. It's blatant what they're trying to do and what they're trying to set up, and they're using this as a way to do it. Because the normal promotional stuff doesn't work for them. We had no idea that there was going to be a Tyson Fury, Arsen Lickbeck, Mukhmudov fight coming up, but here we are, damn near on top of it, right? This is what's happening. They're setting it up in this way. So if you don't like, I think that absolutely there's time to put this on. Deontay Wilder didn't take any damage in that Derek Chisora fight. And yes, I could kind of see, I'm going to stick up for Deontay Wilder on this statement on that one, because there was plenty of opportunity where he's pawing at him with that to keep that distance, almost framing. And we know that, framing's not allowed. So we can't say it was framing. But there was a lot of time where he had that left loaded up and just wouldn't release it. Why wouldn't he release it? Except for when Derek Chisora got him in the corner, hit him with a couple, and then he started whopping him back. Or when they were trying to, lay over the top ropes. I'm sure that Ben Whitaker was screaming someplace while he was watching this fight, and these two guys laying over the top rope like this.
You mean Ben Whitaker?
Well, hey, he's not a quitter. He's got a fight coming up, Steve. He's got a fight coming up against anyway, he's got a fight coming up. Yeah. In like a couple of weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And there's, it's such a big deal. We're not even going to tell you who he is.
Yeah, because we don't know yet. If we don't know, how can you?
Because they haven't found the guy yet. They haven't found him yet. That's the problem. This is going to be one of those
several bars, and we've been to several bars and several eating competitions, and we've not found anybody yet.
They're literally watching Trading Places right now, trying to figure out how they can find somebody to fill in for this situation.
Can I go back though to your excellent point about wrestling? Because when you said that, something clicked in my brain, and it didn't half hurt. I think that this is the kind of Matchroom, the Zone camp, and the Zuffa boxing camp. You know what I'm going to say? It's very similar to the WWF and the WCW of the 1980s. This is shaping up beautifully for Dana to do a Vince McMahon and Eddie to be like a Jim Crockett. That's not going to work, is it?
You know what the best part's going to be? Steve? When you hear the announcement, when you hear these words, and they come streaming across your computer screens and your news waves and everything that tells you that Turki Al-Sheikh has bought DAZN. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that. And then it doesn't matter because he doesn't care. He's an independent. He's an independent. He's just going to own all boxing, all of it, no matter where it is, have his hand in all of it. He already does. He already does. DAZN is partially owned by them, but you're going to see one of these like complete buyouts. It's going to be one of these WWF, WCW things where, you know, all of a sudden Dana, maybe Dana and Zuffa and, you know, TKO, maybe TKO buys DAZN. Maybe. Who knows? It's going to be wild.
Yeah. And you wouldn't be surprised, would you? You wouldn't be surprised if you, because I'm a subscriber, if you logged on to one of their, I suppose, B events and you had Dana White there, like Vince McMahon saying, we're going to show you some Zuffa boxing this week on DAZN.
Yeah. Let's hope.
I mean, I'm enjoying the two camps at the moment. I don't want a monopoly. I would like that. Look at me, the anti-capitalist, talking about having you know, the kind of competition. I like that. And I'm interested to see what DAZN do next because they are actually playing a very good game at the moment. Well, if I say very good game, they're eating up.
They're in it.
They're in it. Yeah.
They're in
they
it.
are. Yeah.
All right, Steve, let me ask you about this one because this is coming up and we've seen heavyweights, you know, fighting this past little bit and we've got more heavyweight fights coming up, but none other than your good friend, Alexander Usyk, has a fight coming up where he's not fighting a boxer. Let's talk very quickly, if we could, please, about the Glory in Giza card.
I mean,
or is it Glory in Gizzards? Old geezers.
It's Glory of Geezers. It's Glory of two geezers,
all right,
one of whom is a boxer and one of whom definitely isn't.
Huh.
Has Rico Verhoeven had more than one fight? I think he's had one, hasn't he?
Yes, he's had one. Yeah. Yes. He's had one, and he won. Well,
that's all right then. That's okay then.
Yeah, it's not a. He's a winning record. He is a 100% win ratio, Steve. Do you understand? Okay. Alexander Usyk. How many fights has Alexander Usyk lost?
I don't know. Go on.
But has he lost?
I don't. He's lost. He has lost, hasn't he?
Yeah. You know who hasn't? Rico Verhoeven. Not in boxing. No.
Right.
So what do you got?
What's my level? There are levels to this thing. So the card is stacked.
Yes.
The card is a really good card. And you need that because the main event is it's just bullshit. It's awful. And also on the poster, they stuck both Usyk and Verhoeven in those pharaoh hats and made them look complete tossers. So it's just it's kind of screaming to me, buy this for the card. Then don't watch the main event because that's dog shit and you'll hate it, folks.
You know, I haven't seen a shitty mustache on somebody since our friend Brady showed us his new mustache. That's how horrible that mustache on Alexander Usyk's drawing really is. But I mean, you talk about this card and being stacked. Hamza Shiraz is on this card. Jack Cotterall is on this card. You've got females fighting on this card, defending their championships as well. This is a stacked card with a lot of really good fights on it.
It is.
I'll bet you that main event can't possibly be any worse than Derek Chisora and Deontay Wilder was.
No, but that's not for a WBC title. And actually, though, you make a good point. You know, it's the thing about the Derek Chisora fight is that it wasn't really a proper boxing match. You know, it had to be there as a 50th because it's his 50th. Not really a proper boxing match. It's an event. It's an event for Derek. You know, it's a roast of Derek. We're going to present you with a golden glove and you can go home for your 50 matches. So it's not that. But the thing about the Verhoeven thing that really upsets me is that Usyk has, well, there's two things. He's got a WBC belt and they're saying, make a wish. you can fight anybody. Well, it's Deontay Wilder. Great. No. It's actually Rico Verhoeven. Great. So that's his voluntary defense. And, they allowed him that. So in a way, I can't blame Alexander Usyk, even though I am. But, he has 2 other belts. Well, first of all, Frank Warren says he'll sue him if he doesn't allow him, if the WBC, not sue him, sue the WBC, if they don't say Ajit Kabayel's your next fighter, because Usyk has said, I want Greedy Belly last. I can understand why he's saying that. It might be for no belt at all. I wouldn't expect it to be. But he's saying I could fight the winner of the Fabio Wardley-Daniel Dubois fight. So to unify the titles, that's nonsense. It's got to be Ajit Kabayel. And really, as I keep saying on my podcast, the sanctioning bodies will decide, won't they? I really hope they will. But another point is, he's got another 2 belts around his waist. And, Murat Gassiev, the WBA regular champion, is getting cheesed off and saying, I'll fight Moses Satalma then. He's going into business for himself, and I understand why. And he's got an IBF title around his waist as well. So, what? So it's nonsense. It really is. And the way he is treating his belts is making me dislike what he's doing intensely. And I'm actually a fan. So I really don't like it. I know I'm a purist, but I don't like it.
Oh, and here's the thing. I do like it. I love it, actually, Steve. And here's why. Because I think he's doing nothing more than take the piss out of every one of these sanctioning bodies that think for so long that they've controlled the sport of boxing with their heavy-handedness and their, we'll keep you under our thumb and you can't have this unless blah, blah, blah. Listen, now there's new kids on the block, and now you've given him the choice because you made him this kind of a champion, and you've given him the choice to make choices, right? So this is their own karma coming back. This is their own upcomings. This is their own doing. The sanctioning bodies did this to themselves. Y'all flew way too close to the sun, and now you're seeing the repercussions of what's going to happen from doing just that. So I think it's great. Go Team Usyk.
I understand your view entirely regarding sanctioning bodies, but at the moment when everything's febrile and boxing fans don't know what to think, the belts are a bulwark, and the belts are, these are important, actually. Boxing means something because of these belts. Now, yes, I agree with you about the sanctioning bodies, but the belts are a place for the crowd and the fans to go to say, that means something, doesn't it? It's not just for your Zuffa belt, which has only just been created.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I'd like to know from the listeners and stuff like that, because I honestly think that from people that I talk to, because sanctioning bodies like the WBC will make up stupid belts just to get themselves onto shows that they're not even involved in, or the grand corner of walk and don't walk silver belt, or whatever it is that they've come up with. It's become so watered down that the normal fan, the average, walk off the street fan, doesn't know anything about these belts and just assumes that everything is up for a stupid belt because the big belts don't mean anything anymore.
I take your point, and we had the ridiculous situation of the WBC trying to say, well, we've got this nice belt and it's got pyramids on it. No, this is my voluntary defense. And we agreed that that my title would be up. So that's what I'm doing. Oh, okay. Title's up then. But they did try and say, we've got money, so we'll give you a nice new commemorative belt. No, it's the title. But we're in this febrile atmosphere. I'm grabbing hold of something, and the belts are it for me. But yes, I would like to hear what people think about this, because I'm fully belted up, and your trousers are falling down because you're no belts.
I'm no belts. I'm belts all cash. I'm belts all cash, right? And listen, the first company that comes out with a championship suspenders, I'm in. Like, forget the belts. Let's go suspenders. Why not?
Now you see, in this country, suspenders means something different. Oh. So in this country, you mean braces that go here, don't you?
No, now, those are the things you put on your teeth to keep them straight because you had too much sugar as a kid.
No, I know that. But the thing is that That's what you mean, isn't it? The stuff that attaches for this,
Yeah.
but in this country, suspenders mean garter belts,
Oh,
and I don't want to see
Listen,
Alexander
let's
Usyk
go.
wearing that at all.
why not?
Actually, he'd rock that look. He'd just dance around, probably to ABBA, and have a really good time.
Championship garter belts. Ladies and gentlemen, he's Steve Swift, and this is the Bees of Boxing. And I mean, what better fucking advice could you have than coming up with a championship garter belt? Oh, I know.
Come to the children. Wu-Tang is for the children. We teach the children.
You thought
Yeah.
you were free and clear, didn't you? You thought we were out. You thought the next lines were going to be